Alright, hit the button. Sorry. It happens. Alright, Professor Anton video. Alright, how to paraphrase, how to overview what this is going to be about and is always about. So Professor Anton, he doesn't believe in any traditional gods, so he doesn't buy this invented notion, the invented notions, bear gods or Zeus or any of that kind of crap. He just says, let's just make God ambiguous. Let's make him like one of those YouTube outlines for the non-person, right? Like when you don't have an icon, you just get this person, this outline of a person. Let's just have the outline God, just to make us all feel like we're part of something purposeful and meaningful. And, that's just, there's meaning in the very process of being processed. So let's, you're spinning in a blender, and he's basically just saying, just pretend the blender is mixing a drink that somebody's going to enjoy, and that it's all good. It's somehow a good time. Enjoy, when your neighbor's little head pops off and the blood spurts out, get a good laugh, and say, it's a funny pattern it made on the wall. Look, it's spelled doo-doo. Yeah, cool. That's it. And that's philosophy. That's being intellectual on planet Earth. Yes, the smart things, the things with intellectual brains, sit there and do that. That's the solution to the problem, is to just paint smiley faces on everything and get about your business. Which is basically what? Rape and pillage? Yeah. Wonderful. And, I find that not satisfactory. I don't think this is the right way to do philosophy on planet Earth. I don't think it's the right way to live or show respect for your intelligence, to even appreciate it, to value it, to whatever his language would be. He'd use some little pooftery kind of language to describe the some feeling of awe and appreciation, gratitude for the fact that you have intelligence, that you're not a little mechanical monster eeking, literally going eek, eek, eek. You're able to do more than that, and you should be grateful for that. And to show your gratitude, you should use your neurons, your intellect, your logic to make up a story. And just take all the bad stuff, take all the nasty gods out, and just make up a story with some kind of god that can't possibly be accountable, can't possibly do anything malicious, just to take all the humanness, the kingness out of the emperor.
Okay, people, so good day. I'm following up the discussion that's been sort of a buzz on...
Wow, very hissy for your video is very hissy.
YouTube here regarding the Bill Nye Ken Ham debate, and I did have a chance to watch. I guess
I'll watch. I guess I'll respond to the hammy parts. Yeah, just for the fun of it. But yeah, whatever. Another video, I presume. This one will take 3 hours.
Almost all of it. It was very painful to watch. It seemed, I just think its mode and its orientation, it just seems so antiquated and so...
Yeah, well, that's how that's when I watch your videos, have the same kind of, oh, come on, can't we do better than this? This is what intellectuals do with the facts. They play psychological games with everything. Does everything have to be American Idol? Does everything have to be converted? The fact that we enjoy exceptionalism and stuff like that. Does everything have to be turned into crap? Some Olympic games of philosophy? Let's sell commercials on the philosophical concepts. Pathetic.
Out of touch with some of the sort of contemporary concerns.
Contemporary concerns, that means us new ager, wishful thinker, babbly babblers don't like the traditional atheist religious kook argument. We as the third party of crazy fucks, we want to play too. Is that what you're saying? We want the third alternative of the whatever, the wacky guy with the silly hat. Yes, where was he in the debate? Where was the Krishnas and such?
I found it odd that.
Yes, odd. That's my impression too. I just say, wow, billions of neurons, 12 years of traditional high schoolish kind of education, plus a lot of extra stuff at university and stuff. Lots of time spent around books and things. And this is the best you can do with the word philosophy. Gads.
This Ham fellow can take seriously the idea that if there is a God, whatever that expression would mean, it would have to be the Christian God who wrote the Bible that he reads. That is very odd.
Yeah, so odd is his way of saying that's fucked up and stupid. Yeah, that's really ignorant. You're being ignorant. And again, that's my impression of what you're doing there. What are you doing that's any different than the Ham guy? The Ham guy knows it's all bullshit. He's just desperately trying to defend a philosophy because he thinks it makes people better citizens, that it gives them something to live for, and it gives them a way of stepping on their dead relatives, and it gives them some way to justify the blood spurting out of the necks and spelling poo on the walls, and it makes them all feel gooey and happy with each other. And you're selling the same kind of soap. I mean, you're just saying, here, eat this slop. Okay, it's gooey and mucky, and yes, it's all fucking psychobabble bullshit, but sup on it. Feed on it. You're doing the same thing. You're saying, this will make you feel okay. You're not talking about the truth.
Any person who's going to debate the Bible as if it were a scientific document about the origin of the world, no. I mean, I think.
Well, otherwise, it really is just another book of babble. So, yes, let's all make the Bible irrelevant. Let's make the Quran irrelevant. Let's make every silly story of antiquity what it should be, a silly story of antiquity, of course. The ancients got it wrong, right? There's no astrology. There's none of this crap means that there's nothing living in the volcanoes. There's nothing, shooting down from the sky when the lightning strikes. These are all just physical phenomenons that don't have any relevance to human interactions and human thoughts and human ideals and human hopes at all. They're going to happen whether humans exist or don't exist. Fuck.
What we need is a science of the origin of literacy and the different
science of the literacy of the origins of literacy. So you get this? So he doesn't want a science of explicit facts, and let's put the facts together and see what they actually draw, which is a really ugly picture of consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. No, let's not do that. But let's have a science of making up phantasmagorical words and then writing a story to them. So I'll just make up a word like spirituality, and then I can write a whole story about how Red Riding Hood found some as she was walking through the forest.
difference between the oral mind and the literate mind, and we could try to document with great insight the kind of psychology of the people who wrote those documents.
Yes, and this kind of people who make these videos. I mean, what is this? I mean, you're gonna gripe about the old psychologists clinging to their babble when you're preaching the same babble. What is the distinction between a made-up God and an idiotic God that was made up 1,000 years ago? Oh, the only distinction is their silly God punishes children for the crimes of the father, or, you know, obviously the old gods were really dumb gods, so you just want to make some kind of little elegant, happy, smiley-faced Tinkerbell God. Tinkerbell's running the universe, so relax, calm down. chill, have a burrito and a Coke, or whatever you urban yuppieites consumptionize.
What that helps us understand about our own condition, our own frailties, the sort of ambiguities that still plague us over.
See, the ambiguities that still plague us. He's just pretending we're as ignorant as they were 2,000 years ago, or 4,000 years ago, or 500 years ago. We're not as ignorant, okay? We've gotten really important, really well-filed keys to the truth have been created here. We have Einstein and Darwin, and man, does that open a lot of doors. We can know what we are, and this is just a dodge to sit there and talk about some sort of ambiguity. Okay, no, sorry. All the important truths are pretty explicit. They start with your mouth and end with your anus.
Where did all this come from, and how long was there nothing before there was something, or if there...
Right, so that's the question you have to know, right, is what was the origin of the photon? The photon buzzes about the universe for 15 billion years till it gets around to making, something like this. And we are going to remain unsettled and uncalm until we understand the crude mechanical forces that popped photons into existence. That's the important information. What exactly our psychology has been constructed to do through evolution and biological process that's been going on for 4 billion years, no, that story isn't the important story. The important story is what made photons.
Was something before it all began? What is the nature of all of that? I think those questions are ever going to go away.
Again, and why are you bothering to ask the questions? Do you really think there's going to be any other answer than just some sort of mechanistic answer that's not going to have anything satisfying to say about you? It's not going to say, I did it all for you, Corey. Yeah. That's not what's behind it all. There isn't some frickin' engineer that poofed out of nowhere that engineers universes. Some eternal engineer of the universe. And if there was, he'd be an asshole, right? Because he just sits around all day engineering universes. Why? Because something made him do it? Because he was created by some universe that existed before our universe that poofed him into existence? Come on. Let that question go. Totally irrelevant to what we should be contemplating or feeling or doing. Isn't that all there is? Contemplate, feel, do. Contemplate, feel, do. What does this crap about where photons came from have to do with any of those things?
It's sort of, Bill Nye at one point, he really kind of failed in that he made it seem like the questions of ultimate origins are going to someday have a satisfactory response.
Well, yeah, it's satisfactory in that you're going to have to deal with the facts. Yeah, we already have the evidence, all the evidence we need to know, which is the universe is cruder forces than the forces that made us through evolution. They're even dumber and more mechanical in their visceral obviousness. The machinery gets more obvious.
As if we don't know enough yet, but eventually we will know. And even to those people who want to say, well, we do now know. You take somebody like Lawrence Krauss, who I've seen, who, he's a smart guy. But he sits there and he sort of says, look, this is him. He's like, well, it's obvious that there was nothing and then something came out of the nothing. It's obvious.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's obvious, but it's obvious that it's a mechanical function, that the universe doesn't make humans. Okay, it just doesn't. This is what it does for a living. Okay, it's part of some mechanical thing that happened, and we're byproduct. We're not intention, we're not function, we're byproducts. And our byproduct is, it has a taint and an odor of grotesque imperfection, just preposterous imperfection, almost as imperfect as our gods.
Obvious. And it's, you can say that it's obvious. It's not that obvious to people. And all kinds of other ambiguities, and there
all kinds of other ambiguities. So now he's saying we somehow, this stupid ambiguity about, well, how did exactly the photons get created, that somehow this is important knowledge. And then he's implying that there's some other big questions we haven't answered yet. No, go read Darwin. They're answered.
Introduced. If one can just say that it's obvious that there was nothing that then became something, well, how long was there the nothing? And could there have been something?
Well, those are all answerable questions. If you want to detail a bunch of questions about how the universe functions, I could explain to you that how long becomes a nonsensical question in the atmosphere of nothing. So that's sort of irrelevant, because time is created by the creation of a photon. That's right. If you have a photon, time exists because it moves at a constant speed, and it creates distance between itself and something else, the other photons. And once you can do that, well, now you've created time. Time is the process of interaction.
For the nothing? I mean, it's obvious that things can go into nothing just as much as something can come from nothing, right? It doesn't make any sense. I think the point is that...
No, I think it doesn't make any sense to get distracted by an irrelevant question of mechanics. There's just no point in asking where the blender came from. You're spinning in the blender, alright? It's a clear blender, so you can see there's nothing else but the blender. There's just blender, and you're spinning in it. And you're going to worry about where it came from. Huh? No. Don't waste your time, okay? Just do what you need to do to prevent as much screaming horror as possible.
At really huge levels, we're all baffled. We're little animals, chattering noises. There's no way we could possibly take ourselves seriously thinking that we're going to be able to grasp the very condition that made us possible.
So again, we're not going to be able to grasp it. It's not like we can't surmise about it and that we can't understand that it's likely to be an explanation that is not going to be at all satisfying to our ego. That it's going to be an explanation that has absolutely nothing to do with humans existing. And consciousness and all that bullshit. That's an illusion in your head. But again, just this keep making this the agenda of existence by saying it's not an agenda, by saying here's the impossible goal, now go reach it, go make this important. He's saying it's an impossible, you're not going to get there, but keep walking anyway, because I say it's a good idea, not because I thought about it, not because I have any kind of logical reasoning to apply, just do it.
It seems somewhat silly, but I don't think that means that, the Christian creator God is the answer.
Well, again, I don't think the answer is to distract yourself with nonsense and babble when the truth is sitting right in front of you. Just look at it. We know where we came from. We know what the biology is made out of. We know the agenda of natural selection in the sense of the agenda created by the byproducts of the competition. We know what the tendencies are. We know what the rules are. There's just no friggin' point in getting lost in this babble of aggrandizement of our purpose or function. The function is to spin in the blender and scream when appropriate.
No, and it was so tragic how the questions that were given by the audience, they were this, what exactly would be needed for you to change your view? What exactly would you need to discover? What evidence would you have? And
Wow, that's okay though. See, I like that. What is it that you're really? So if I gave you a mechanical model of the creation of photons, what would your reaction be? To sit there and try to find some further question to ask? Some other detail like, well, what do you mean it's a crack in the universe? How could the universe crack? And if I say, well, here's the proof that it happens because the universe has intrinsically the idea of flaw is built into the function. It's just inevitable that flaw will arise. Imperfection will arise, and it'll crack the universe, and the crack will heal, and it'll be fine forever and ever and ever, and then it'll crack again. And each crack will be different. I'm just saying, if I give you some story, how is that going to help you? How is that going to resolve or change the function of biological evolution? The evolution of chemistry, well, first the evolution of physics in the stars and in the universe, the evolution of chemistry here on Earth, and now the evolution of biology on the surface of the Earth. How is that reality changed by an explicit explanation of reasoning why there is a difference between nothing and something?
Wished that anybody who's watched my channel, they could probably know the question that I would have asked and would have liked to have heard people address. That is, if you discovered scientifically, and there just were a fact of the matter, scientists were able to discover that there is no life after death. That when you're dead, you're dead. That's it. Is someone saying that therefore that means atheism is, quote, true or...
yeah, I guess. But regardless, right? Well, so you think the whole thing is what I'm going to do after I'm dead, or that it's not a significant detail, that if there isn't any heaven and there is no promised land, that maybe the march through the desert is kind of silly. That there's absolutely no point in marching through the desert to the promised land if there is no promised land. That is probably true.
B, that life is therefore meaningless because it won't...
No, life is therefore horribly brutal, squish, squish, rip, rip, tear, tear in the blender for no good reason except you're stupid enough to have a baby in it. Yeah, that would be the rational conclusion that, oh, I can make it all stop by just not putting babies in the blender. Gee, but you'd have to be a super intellectual to figure that out. Yeah, don't put the baby in the blender. Oh man, no, that's way, 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 way beyond human comprehension. Yeah, I think the destruction of God should logically give an individual pause to say, holy fucking shit, what am I part of? Why don't you go look at just contemplate the life in the ocean every day. What a wonderful pageant of red, pretty red, Come on, Professor.
Matter because it won't be remembered by someone or in some cosmic domain or something like this. Both people, they seem to be hovering around this question of meaningfulness.
Now, it seems to be exactly what you're hovering around, too, and you're just this pretense that, okay, don't draw the picture, just don't. Make it simple, just do the outline thing, just outline God, and then he doesn't have to be accountable, and you don't have to be responsible for explaining why he has a 58-foot nose or something. Don't draw any details. Nobody can critique it then. Nobody can touch it. We can all pretend we have a God. I mean, come on. Your alternative sucks.
Making it seem as if there had to be something like life after death, Or, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Justice. Eternal justice. Oh, yeah, no, that's not important. Yeah, right. See, I mean, you can reduce it to those two words, fairness and consent. And those are really biggies, okay? And without fairness and consent, this game isn't playable. You can't make slaves, you can't make victims to pay prices for your comfort, okay? The war dead are not, your pawns, so you can play your little horse jumpy game, on their backs. And the people paying the price for your stupid, aggrandized little poofy life, you don't have a right to make them victims. You don't have a right to make victims out of other mammals, and you don't have a right to make victims out of the unfortunate humans who get born into the wrong part of the blender by morons.
Oh, some kind of secure answer about it all. Either they already have it, or eventually will have it. I don't see why those are necessary.
Well, you do seem to think that they are necessary, that we can't draw any conclusions about life just being stupid, moronic, mold growing in the universe. You wouldn't accept that definition, that description, just some sort of parasitic, root-growing, consuming, monstery thingy. You wouldn't accept the blender analogy. Would you? No, you're going to keep pretending you're on some sort of the good ship lollipop, that you're just floating around in the, there's no blender here. And justice isn't important.
I think there are lots of ways to get at the meaning of life without hinging it upon answers and or dogma.
Well, it seems like your whole video is implying that somebody should hinge their existence on answering, where did the something come from? And if we don't know where the something came from, we have to sit around in ambiguity and just keep walking towards the promised area. Yeah, the promised area. Might not be land. It might just be an area, like Area 51. And we all should be marching there and whistling some kind of marching song as we go. Ugh.
One can, it's sort of like an Alan Watts move. You talk about a dance. You don't dance to get to the end of the song.
Yeah, again, so you don't march to get to the promised land. You just march because the DNA molecule says so. You're a biological organism. You're not much smarter than a dumb ape. So just eat your fucking bananas and go eek, eek, eek. And, yeah, play along. Just play along. Fuck. No, I'm not going to do that.
Is an accomplishment of a certain kind of harmony and rhythm.
Oh, blah, 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 blah. So again, just pretend the blender noise is a song written by the Beatles. Yeah, so you hear the rah, 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 rah. Then the rah, 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 ouch, ouch, rah, 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 ouch, ouch. Yeah, so just pretend it's I want to hold your hand. And it's not horror, horror.
And there is an overall aesthetic bouquet.
Aesthetic bouquet, and watching your feet blister as you march the march, and then they fall off, and you get the gangrene, and it has this stench about it. But just pretend the stench is not a stench. Just change the word stench into guzabavu. Ah, there, it's all fine now. It's not gangrene. It's funny color, happy color.
That gets released in various processes. And, the purpose of life is to commune with the eternal mystery.
Okay, commune with the eternal mystery. Now, you believe that, right? I mean, apparently, 26 people. I like the video so far. So this is something you go for. This communing with the eternal mystery. Just sit there and live in the mystery. La 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 la. I don't know how I biological evolution. No, I don't understand that. I'm mystery about it. Everything's mysterious. Let's all just pretend we don't know what thunder and lightning is, and let's just pretend to let's make up a fable about it, and then we can justify marching to the music. Oh, pathetic.
The whole time that you're here.
Pathetic.
There will be this eternal mystery, and the mystery will be who you are. And this is,
the mystery will be who you are. Yeah, you can't know you're a humanoid. You can't know that you evolved from other simians. No, you can't know any of that, and we're basically consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction.
very related to it is, I think sometimes people, when they start to do the God talk turns into a God way up out in the sky.
Right, and the real God is the eternal mystery. Just the outline of a God. Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just go back to your default icon? Because that's God. Yeah, he's human-like, but mysterious. Mysterious!
Above people or independent of the world or somehow did something, created something, and now rests complete unto itself over there looking at the world or something like this. And I think for a lot of people who are, I guess we'll call them spiritual, they're not interested in something like a creator God. They're interested in something like inwardness and the very mystery of their own birth and existence, the kind of inward depth of imagination that they...
Yes, rubbing their penis. Yeah, right, as they're spinning around. Oh, I can see myself in the reflections on the glass as I go by. Ooh, I'm so cool. Yes, that's what human beings are interested in doing, is jerking off to themselves. Yes. Yep. And that's somehow a good thing, right? Oh, wait, that doesn't sound like a good thing. It doesn't sound very smart. It sounds like something a minky would do. A rhesus minky.
Enjoy and relish is part of the cosmos itself. That is, you don't have to go looking outward to find the divine mystery in existence.
Yeah, right. It just reminded me of the Young Frankenstein movie. You know, when the Frankenstein, you know, and she goes, the mystery of life song, she starts singing it when, yeah, it's a big penis. Oh, fuck.
It's not as if there is this, external relation that's needed. Some of that, I think, is already presupposing too much, or it's on a wrong footing.
Yes, just eat your potato chips and be happy. Okay, we get it. I don't think that's what we should be doing with our big, giant brains.
From my perspective, is my sense of it.
I don't think even that's. I don't even know how much of that's even true. What is this crap? Your sense of it. So that's the best you can do. You're telling me that's the best you can do is say, okay, well, we look like apes. We look like we're just trapped in this biological mechanism. So let's pretend we don't know that and have a party. And that's your sense of it. That's as far as you can take the game of thinking about living. That's it.
I don't think if death is the end, that somehow life was meaningless. That...
Well, who's arguing that it's meaningless? The argument is it's a lot of horrible spinning in the blender for no reason whatsoever, except people are stupid enough to have babies in a blender. Damn.
I think is a kind of... It's a bait and switch. It's a lack of gratitude. It's a lack of humility.
Right. I should be humble and grateful. Oh, I'm so happy I'm in the blender. Gee, I don't know what I would do if I didn't get a chance to see how wonderful it is to be spinning in the blender. Oh, yeah, I just love this. Roundy, roundy, ouch, ouch, yell, yell, scream, scream. Oh, gee, what fun. Oh, fuck.
It's a lack of real perspective and grace.
Well, I'm sorry. No, real perspective and grace would just be accepting the frickin' physics, the chemistry, and the biology. That would be perspective and grace. That would be doing honor and paying respect to your intelligence.
How would I say it? That, to be alive is to witness and to participate in. So out of touch with some of the
oh fuck!
sort of
I went
contemporary.
boo-boo there.
But I don't think that one is on the right path.
Okay.
Able to take your stand in it, in a devouring rabbits. All of that is the faith. Well, I don't mean it literally, but God is a multi-headed, hideous, beautiful, event. Live is to witness and to participate in an absolute terrible, horrifying, beautiful, event. It's an utter mix.
An utter mix. Okay, so now we're just always back to the same argument. I declare even Steven. So he just makes it up. He just says, oh, it all works out. Yeah, they suffer and we enjoy. Fair deal. Yes, some people have to do the work, the slaves, and some of us enjoy the, crumpets and tea. That all seems to work out for me. It's a tea drinker and crumpet eater. Yeah, fuck. Yes, amazing. He has declared it. It all worked out in the end. Trust me. I know. I'm the all-knowing knower, and I know it all worked out in the end.
You're a witness to it. You're implicated in it, and it's almost as if
Right, you witness it, you commit the crimes, we were right here, the blood's all over us, and you're just saying, oh, it's okay, it worked out okay, so don't worry about it, it's okay, don't worry, I say it's okay.
This is a bunch of metaphors, a bunch of stories, I don't mean it literally, but God is a multi-headed, hideous beast that devours itself, and all the horrors of the world and the beauties of the world and the sunrises and the sunsets and the cackling jackals devouring rabbits, all of that is the face of God.
Yeah, oh, it's okay somehow. It's all okay because there's no face. It's ghost God, ghost dad, ghost everything. Don't look for details. Don't look at the truth. Just make up some sort of bullshit and scribble that in there. Just paint a smiley face. Let's just get real at what you're doing. You just walk around painting smiley faces. Let's just pretend. Fuck.
And you're witnessing it. You're a spectator to it, and you're able to take your stand in it, in some sort of response to it, to affirm it, to deny it.
Right. You're one of the guys just affirming it. You're just saying, yeah, be a dumb ape. Play the game. Eat your banana. Shut up. Rub your junk. Don't think too much. Great.
To celebrate it, to wish it away. I mean, there's many different responses to the fact.
Yeah, many different ones, except this is the one I'm going to tell you is right. So, he does have a... I love that crap. I concede you're right to think differently, except I don't think you're right. Great.
Act of existence, but I don't think that one is on the right path.
There you go. You're not on the right path if you don't believe what I say. If you don't do as I don't do.
Saying that all of this is really for me and about my ego and about remembering it and having it being meaningful for one.
Oh, whatever. I don't think anybody's asking for all that. We're just saying, look, this is way, 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 way too expensive. for this to serve a silly need, an ego gratification that my ego didn't need to be put in this deprivated condition in the first place. You don't need to create the hungry thing to justify the potato chip. It's silly.
Oneself in some cosmic way. No, the meaning is bestowed as a gift for...
There you go. See? So he's going to keep talking. It's a gift. It's the gift of blender. You got a blender for Christmas. Aren't you lucky? Now put your baby in it and shut up.
The very temporary odyssey that you have in existence right now. And
right, the temporary odyssey that's been done about whatever, a million times, a zillion times. The little eekers have been eking for 500 million years. Things have been going ouch. Yeah, and I'm just victim, whatever. 1 trillion, 7 zillion, 1 zillion, billion, million. Ugh, fuck. And the blender goes on blending.
And that momentary participation by which you pop out of inexistence, this sort of radical non-differentiation, whether you want to call it dreamless sleep, which we go every night, or just the ground of being wherever you were, wherever that was before your birth. And
well, I don't think I'd call it the ground of being, okay, because I wasn't being, so I guess it's not the ground of being. You know, just logically, come on. Yeah, that's right. You just arrive here, go, oh, fuck, I'm conscious. Some of this stuff is fun, but most of it's kind of messy.
somehow you're going to disappear back to that after your death. But for the moment while you're alive...
It's not somehow. It's part of the mechanism. The DNA molecule programs you to die. So you can put a new baby. You pop a new baby into the blender, and then the blender chews you the fuck up. That's the game you're playing. You're playing the game Blender, and you're doing it on purpose. And I'm merely asking you to take a little bit of time and think about that and say, is that really a rational thing to do? To talk about the game Blender as if it makes sense? As if it's a game sensible, rational, thinking people should play. Let's play Blender.
Alive, and you're awake, and you're witnessing what's around you. You are, you're participating in the eternal mystery. It's...
No, again, it's not a mystery. It's a blender. Okay? Make a baby, die. Make a baby, die. Choo choo, chomp chomp.
to open to it, to see to what extent you can, in compassion and love, gratitude, forgiveness, help others along the way.
Right, by explaining to them how they should just march towards the ambiguous paradise that doesn't exist. Just keep marching. Don't pay any attention to the blood and guts. Go ahead. Yeah, just laugh at the suffering.
Help yourself discover your true self. And by I mean the true self, I don't mean one's own most potential, like your future self having more talents. I mean the larger connection to that very ground that makes you possible.
Oh, whatever that means. The ground that makes you possible. So get in touch with the ground. Go rub the dirt and play in the dirt. Don't get a physics degree and get a clue about reality. Don't improve yourself and learn how to do something constructive. No, just go outside and rub the dirt. Ugh, great plan.
That there isn't a world and then you kind of in it. It's the world is worlding its relations through you. I mean, you're
worlding the world. You are the blender, and that's probably pretty true, right? The blender doesn't exist if we just stop putting babies in it. If it has nothing to blend, it will go away. But as long as you keep putting babies in it, it's going to keep chewing them up. And that's the truth.
You're a certain gravitational center that creates relations in its pull.
That's right. You create the blood that makes the spin possible. that makes the whole thing fluid enough to chew everything to pieces. You do it. It's your fault.
And those relations are real. They're part of your existence, your odyssey, infinitude.
Your odyssey, infinitude. Again, like the human race is going on forever. Like what simian species will go on forever. What life on Earth will go on forever. What is this babble? There's no infinitude for anything. Nothing is forever. It's a silly concept. Let it go.
But none of that requires a creator God. None of it requires a literalist interpretation of the Bible.
It just requires an empty head and simplistic notions and ignorant marching songs. March, 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 march. Yeah.
None of it requires a fear of death. I think it requires
just play along. Just play along. Like love the blender. And just make friends with the blender. Blah, 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 blah.
There's a maturity and a resilience, a compassion, a humility.
No, there's none of any of that crap. There's just a rejection of intellectual realization. Deny intelligence. Deny facts. Deny all this work to get to this point, to be capable of making a rational decision, to make irrational decisions. Choose irrationally. For no good reason, but because bibbly-babbly-boo says so.
I guess in some way it requires a kind of open, honest acceptance about the humble lot of the human.
Right. So we should be humble. We're the smartest thing on the planet. We shouldn't stand up and say, I'll drive the bus because I'm smarter than everybody else. Nope, just sit in your seat, play along. Don't come up with a strategy to stop the blender, to break the blender, to escape the blender. Don't do anything, just be a victim. Create victims and be victims. Don't do any better than that. Just shut up and be tortured properly. What's all this yelling and screaming and whining and complaining? No, just be tortured properly and shut up. Anyway, I think I'll get around to doing some of this debate crap. I'll watch some of it live and react and such. It'll be just incredibly fun. God. I feel turbulence. I can feel myself getting closer to the choo-choo chomp-chomp.